last piece of chocolate cake, and somebody goes, somebody has to eat it. And there's always a little bit of laughter with it. A number of years ago, I took my children back to Washington, D.C., and we looked at the World War II memorial and also the Vietnam Veterans Wall. My kids looked at all the names and said, why did all of these people go over there? And I said, somebody had to do it. Somebody has to make sure that the freedoms that we enjoy today will continue. Many years ago, the veterans that sit here today, they were the ones that fought in World War II because somebody had to do it. My hope is, in the future, that when children see pictures of veterans from World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, that they will understand the sacrifices that these brave men and women have made, whether it's with their lives or with their time, to make sure that the freedoms that we enjoy today will continue to live on forever. Somebody has to do it. One of those somebodies who's very important to us, who's brave and has been courageous, is Technical Sergeant Hugo Caballero. He was raised in Chino. He's a 4-time combat veteran who fought in the Iraq War. Hugo has served both an interface control technician and a surveillance technician. I would like to introduce Sergeant Hugo Caballero.
Good morning. My name is Tech Sergeant Hugo Caballero, United States Air Force. I have served and dedicated 7 years of my life to you and America itself. I'm on active duty status currently. I'm a 4-time combat veteran, a proud 3-time Iraqi veteran, and a 1-time enduring freedom veteran. I'm honored to actually talk before you today. We gather here today to pay tribute to all men and women who have sacrificed so much. Some who have sacrificed their entire lives and well-being. Americans who, no matter what political persuasion or attitude towards ongoing war, no matter their background, came and continue to come together towards one common goal: freedom. A costly goal that has literally cost tens of thousands of American lives. This country has come to be known as the greatest nation, an extraordinary achievement yet to be matched by any nation, past or present. An achievement that's not attainable without brave, unwavering commitment by civilians who answer a nation's call, a call I answered not so long ago. May 2004, Operation Iraqi Freedom. As I lay in bed in a foreign land, Joint Base Balad, LSA Anaconda, Iraq, I lay there imagining as to what I would be doing if I were back home as millions of Americans were. It was then I realized that I had given up my own freedoms in the exchange for millions of others. Could I be at home watching TV as millions of Americans were, in a nice, comfortable living room, or perhaps going out on a date, or just conducting business as normal? Laying there, I looked up at a small 3x5-inch American flag, lightly covered in a thin blanket of Iraqi sand, taped to a nearby wall. I lay there wondering if anyone truly cared about a veteran's sacrifice. I wondered if anyone actually thought about me as I was in Iraq, as they lay at home or had breakfast or dinner. It was at that exact moment I felt the distinct concussion of a 120mm mortar exploding just feet from where I laid. Hitting the floor, donning all protective gear, I pray, please Lord, don't let this next one hit me. Impact after impact, it became more and more apparent that going home alive may not be one of my options. After months of war, I returned home to my first duty station, Hill Air Force Base, Utah. Life hasn't been the same since I departed for that first Iraqi tour. Innocence lost, yet honor, pride, and courage gained. I was one of few who gave up their freedoms so that others may live without fear, so that enemies, both foreign and domestic, fail in their attempts, so that Lady Liberty goes unharmed, so that war doesn't come to American soil, and so the American flag may rise in glory day after day. Ladies and gentlemen, we must honor both veterans and their families, not just on Veterans Day, not just during a welcome home parade. We must honor and recognize their hardships and sacrifices every single day. Veterans don't choose what day they go to war or defend this country. They do it 24/7 without wavering commitment. We too should show the same respect. A veteran is tasked with the awesome responsibility of protecting millions of American lives, and a military family is tasked with supporting both. Veterans are guardian angels who watch over this great nation as we work, sleep, and play. As you go about your daily lives, look up to the heavens above and thank the veterans of the past, and shake the hands of those veterans still here with us today. And to our prisoners of war and those missing in action, we pray for you, and you are not forgotten. As we sit here today, we should acknowledge the hardships of those on foreign soil protecting us at this very moment. As a 5-year Honor Guard member, I have aided in countless of active duty, veteran, and retiree funerals. I have commanded 21 gun salutes. I have heard taps echo in the background as I looked into a widow's eyes to present our beloved flag. Rendering a last salute, I fear her loss, I too fear her pain. The loss of a brother in arms, the loss of an American hero. And though I may be greeted with tears, she stands tall and proud of her loved one's courage, integrity, and dedication. A sense of pride only recognized by those who have endured so much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tech Sergeant Hugo Caballero. I am an American protecting freedom and justice. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, and on behalf of the City of Duarte, we'd like to present you with these flowers. Thank you for your sacrifice for our country. Appreciate it. The next person we have to speak hits a little bit closer to home to me. I was just recently over in Hawaii, and I went and saw the Arizona Memorial, which is always a very stirring thing to me because as you go out there and stand on the memorial, you can see the Arizona in the bottom of the bay there, and you take a look at it, and there is still oil that comes up to the surface every day because there's oil down there that they have never been able to take out of the Arizona Memorial. And it's just a constant reminder of the tremendous sacrifices that were made that day and in the Pacific during World War II. Our second speaker today is an amazing individual in that he was one of about 300 that survived when the Indianapolis went down in the South Pacific. He was a San Gabriel resident, a seaman first class, on the USS Indianapolis in the Philippine Sea on July 30th, 1945, when a Japanese submarine torpedoed the ship. The vessel sank in 12 minutes, taking down 300 of the 1,200 men aboard. 900 survivors were tossed into the shark-infested waters, and they were reduced to only 300 survivors when SOS calls were delayed the rescue for 4 days. So we are indeed privileged today to have our guest speaker, Mr. Lyle Umenhoffer with us today to speak about that. Lyle?
Thank you. Good morning. I know many of you have heard my story before, some haven't, and I hope I can make it interesting to most of you. To Staff Sergeant Hugo, I appreciate that, and I know what you've gone through, and I appreciate you and many others that have done the same thing. And for you that was up in Alaska, we spent a year in the Bering Sea, so I know what you went through. I was told that I had just a few minutes, so I'm going to try to get to the crux of the story. I think most of it has been said. We left after I was on the USS Indianapolis in 1942. We left for Melbourne, Australia, with 21 Matson liners loaded with troops. They unloaded the troops over there. We left and we went up into Alaska for the campaigns up in Alaska, Attu, Kiska, Kodiak, Kamchatka, and all the other islands that was invaded by the Japanese. And we were up there for almost a year in the Bering Straits patrolling. And I can attest to it. It was cold and miserable. As Sir here could tell me. After we left, after we secured most of the islands up in Alaska, we went down to the South Pacific, and we got to fire on different islands, all the different islands, Tinian, and we got hit at Okinawa in 1944 by a kamikaze, and we lost 9 men, and we lost one of our engine rooms, one of our evaporators, and both screws on the port side. So we limped back to the United States for repairs. Well, we were in the United States, Mare Island, for approximately 9 months, and they told us that we had to go back out or we would lose our sea pay. So we said, hey, we're not going to lose money, so let's go back out to sea. So in the meantime, they took us over. We took off. I don't remember what it was, but anyhow, we took off and went over to Hunter's Point. And at Hunter's Point, sitting on the dock, was this huge crate. I mean, the thing was huge. And they said, we're going to take this crate and load it on your ship. So we proceeded as a leading seaman aboard ship, and a bunch of others of us, we proceeded to put this huge crate on our ship. We put it in the port hangar, closed the door, and sealed it up. They took on components of boxes and jars and all kinds of things and put them up forward in the officers' quarters and sealed it up. We had no idea what was going on. So we took off, and we started off, and we went 32.5 knots all the way to Guam, and we were just bouncing. I mean, the ship was just jumping. We couldn't hardly lay down. You couldn't hardly rest or anything. So we got to Guam. We unloaded some men, took on some other men, took on supplies and things, and took off for Tinian. Well, when we got to Tinian, we pulled up to the dock, and the Army was there. We unloaded this huge crate and all the other components and everything off on the dock, and the Army took care of it. They hauled it off. Well, we didn't know what was going on. So anyhow, we took off and started with the other ships and things on the campaign that we was on. And we fired on Iwo Jima, Tarawa. We hit all the islands and everything. And we got